Hello there everyone, I'm Crazy Caleb, and today we are taking a look at retirement. So what we need to do is, before we even look at where we're trying to go, we need to figure out what's happening right now. Bob's wife wants to put a snooker table in Bob's workshop, so she decided it's time for him to retire. With the help of Bob's family, child, and sibling, Bob's wife needs to pick out the most suitable retirement home for Bob to live out his final days. Sad. Each member of Bob's family has different influence factors over the decision. Bob's wife has a factor of 3, his child has a factor of 2, and his sibling has a factor of 1. These are essentially going to be your multiples. So, we need to first figure out who is Bob's family. So, let's figure it out. We're going to look at the batteries, modulo 5. That is a 2 in this case. So the wife for 2 is Ruth. Next, we're going to look at the child, because he has a factor of 2. We're going to count the ports plus indicators modulo 10. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Our child is Kirsty. And finally, what we have to do is determine our sibling character's name, is we have to look at the serial number. And we have to figure out if it's odd number, even number, or a letter. And we're going to look at that from top to bottom. So we have both numbers, actually. So it's going to be 2 numbers. That's going to be Toby. So our sibling is Toby. So now what we need to do is get all 5 names of each retirement home. So in this case we have Riverwell, we have Sunnyvale, Sunnyside, Riverside, and finally Briar Hollow. Now what we need to do is determine what we need to do for this one. For each home, determine how many families each family member's name has in common with the home name. And it says here, repeated letters in the home name should be counted as many times as they appear. And then we multiply each number by the family member's influence factor, and take the sum of the 3 family members' scores to get the highest home rating. So it's kind of like Hogwarts a little bit, where you have the influences of the names, except this time we're looking at wives, child's, and siblings' names instead of house names. So first, for Riverwell, let's take a look at Ruth first. Ruth has a Romeo, a uniform, a tango, and a hotel. Now let's count how many occurrences each letter happens to appear. And remember that the wife has a factor of 3, so we're going to be multiplying however many characters we get by 3. There's 2 R's. There's no uniforms, there's no tangos, and there's no hotels. So with the 2 Romeos, that's going to be multiplied by 3, getting us 6. Now let's take a look at Kirsty. Kirsty has a factor of 2, so we will be adding on to 6, however many letters are in Kirsty's name. There are no K's, there is an I, so that's plus 2. That's going to be an 8. 2 R's, that's going to be 4, so that becomes 12. Sierra, there are no Sierras. Tangos, no tangos, and Yankees, no Yankees. And that's it for the name, and that's it for the child. Next up we have is the sibling, and that's just a factor of 1, so we can just count how many occurrences happen in the name. No tangos, no Oscars, no Bravos, and no Yankees. So unfortunately, nothing happens with the sibling. So, next let's look at Sunnydale. Ruth. There are no R's. There is a uniform, so that's a plus 3. Tangos, no tangos, and no hotels. Next up, Kirsty. No kilos, no Indias, no Romeos, no Sierras. There is a Sierra, actually, excuse me, so that's a plus 2, so that becomes 5. no tangos, and there is a Yankee, so we'll add another one, so that becomes 7. Next up, Toby. No tangos, no Oscars, no Bravos, 1 Yankee, so that's another additional 1. You can already rule out that Sunnydale is not going to be our place, because Riverwell is already copied, so we can get rid of that. Next up, Sunnyside. Ruth. No Romeos, 1 uniform, that's a 3, no tangos, and no hotels. Next up, our child. Kirsty, no Ks, 1 I, that becomes 5, no Romeos, 2 Sierras, so that's going to be 4, so it's going to be 9, 1 tango, no tangos, and 1 Yankee, so that's going to become 11. Next, let's take a look at the sibling. Toby, no tangos, no Oscars, no Bravos, 1 Yankee. We have a tie, so that's going to be 12. Let's keep looking at our list and determining if there's any other ties relevant. Ruth. There are 2 R's here. That's going to be 6 right there. No uniforms, no tangos, and no hotels. So that's it for Ruth. Kirsty. No Ks, 2 Indias, so that's going to be +4, so that becomes 10. 1 Sierra, so that becomes 12. No tangos and no Yankees. Toby. No T's, no O's, no B's, and no Y's. We have a 3-way tie, unbelievable. And finally, Briar Hollow. Ruth. 2 R's, so that becomes 6. Uniform, no uniforms. Tango, no tangos. And hotel, there is a hotel, so we add 9 to that. We add 3 to that. Kirsty, no K's, 1 I, so that's +2. 2 R's, so that's +4. That becomes 15, and we've already found our winner here, because this was a 3-way tie, and after our calculations, and this isn't completely done yet, because we can add a lot more to this. Toby, there's already a +2, so we can already retire at Briar Hollow, since that has the most points. If, however, in this case, before I submit this, the Briar Hollow happened to be lower, and we have to look at this 3-way tie. If there is a tie between 2 or more homes, Bob's wife will pick the house she gave the highest rating to. If there is a tie with that, pick the home that comes first alphabetically from Bob's wife highest rated home. So in this case, it would be Riverside, because the S comes before the W. But that didn't happen, so let's choose Briar Hollow. Let's take a look at one more example, as this is a little bit of a tedious module, but you can eliminate a couple of options here. So let's find out who our wife is. After I turn this radio off. So our wife is going to be the battery count 2. It happens to be Ruth again. Next, let's find out who our child is. Counting our ports and indicators. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. Our child is John. Next up, let's get our characters of the serial number. We have a Quebec and a 5, which is a letter and an odd number. So our sibling is Lydia. Alright, let's get our home names. We have Leafy Green. And the colors don't matter. They're just randomly generated. There's the arrow. Leafy Green. Lodge Park. Briar Hollow. Riverside, and Broadwood. Okay, let's calculate. I'm gonna do a little bit of a different tactic this time. I'm gonna calculate. Usually you can calculate it based off the wife's value first. So, for leafy green, there is 1 R, so that's a 3. No uniforms, no tangos, and no hotels. That's it. For Lodge Park, 1 R, no uniforms, no tangos, no hotels. Okay. Briar Hollow, there are 2 R's, so that becomes 6. There's no uniforms, there is no tangos. There is a hotel, however, so that becomes 9. And that's a pretty good lead, so I'm going to assume it's going to be Briar Hollow again. For Riverside, there are 2 Romeos. That's a 6. No uniforms, no tangos, and no hotels. Broadwood, there is 1 R, so that's a 3. There's no uniforms, there's no tangos, and there's no hotels. And I'm pretty sure by now, we can already eliminate Broadwood, Lodge Park, and Leafy Green. So let's take a look for John. No J's, no O's, no hotels, and 1 N, so that becomes 5. I can already get rid of Leafy Green, because that's obviously too low at this point. Lodge Park. No J's. There is 1 O, so that becomes 5. There is, no hotels and no N's. I can already get rid of that too, because that's too low. Broadwood. No J's. 3 O's. That's adding 6, so that becomes 9. So I'm glad I actually kept that in. No hotels and no Novembers. Let's take a look at here though. No J's, 2 O's, so that becomes 13. 1 hotel, so that becomes 15, and November, that becomes there is no November. Riverside, no J's, no O's, no hotels, and no Novembers. So I can already get rid of Riverside as well. I can already tell this is going to be Briar Hollow just because of how high the points are. And taking a look here, Lydia, no L's, no Y's, no 2 D's, but that would be adding 11. No Indias and 1 Alpha, so that becomes 12. So by default, I can already tell that Briar Hollow is our winner. And that's a solved module. So it's just kind of using your resources and thinking about it a little bit, especially because the wife has a huge influence on where Bob will retire. That's pretty much it for retirement. As always, I hope you guys enjoy. Stay crazy, stay cool, don't explode, and please find the right retirement home for Bob. See you guys later. Bye-bye.